Your creative confidence plays a major role in determining whether you're going to be creative, take in a creative approach and invest some creative efforts onto a particular problem, or whether you're choosing not to put some creative efforts onto this particular problem. It also makes a major difference whether you're comfortable trying to solve the more complex problems, or whether you try to postpone or leave them aside while you're doing more easy kind of problems. Some may argue that if you take some creative illiterates and teach them how to be creative, when to be creative, that they will automatically choose to be creative whenever these complex problems appear. Otherwise, we can talk about them as intellectual lazy people. But that's not the whole truth. It's not enough to just learn some tools, process methods, and so forth. We also have to feel confident in using these tools, using these methods, and being creative at will and on command on any kind of problem that appear. We have to feel confident that we can do that together with our colleagues. We have to learn our colleagues and friends as creative human beings, getting experiences about how they are creative, how they can contribute with novel, inspiring ideas, and how they can elaborate on your ideas and vice versa. It's worth considering your creative confidence, or creative self-perception, or creative self-efficacy. It's worth considering whether you believe that you can be creative whenever you want to, on any kind of problem, any day of the week. Maybe you should ask yourself, do you truly dare to challenge what everyone else takes for granted? Do you dare to come up with novel ideas and present these ideas to your colleagues, even if they may defy current logic in your team, organization, industry? Do you dare to look for potential where everybody else only find trouble? So ask yourself, do you have a structured approach for how you define creative starting points or creative challenges or creative problems to invest some creative efforts into? Do you know exactly how you do this process and when to use this process? Also, do you have a structured process for producing new ideas, novel ideas, and valuable ideas? Try also to make some self-perception about your production of ideas. Do you consider yourself as one of those who produce a lot of ideas? Sometimes some inspiring novel ideas that surprises yourself and others? Are you also considering yourself as one of those who are asked to help your colleagues and friends come up with ideas for their problems? Maybe some personal problems about how to organize a wedding, or some professional problems about serious matters at work, machines that doesn't work, or social conflicts at the workplace. Do you sometimes forget time while you're working on creative problem solving? And do you enjoy this so much that you forget about all the other things that are important in life, at least for minutes, half an hour, a couple of hours at a time? Try also to reflect on how you are open-minded towards other people's creative ideas. Do you like to challenge your own way of thinking and your immediate feeling of judgment? And are you curious about other people's perspectives, even though they may defy your current way of looking at things? Do you deliberately try to look for potential in other people's behavior or ideas when you don't clearly see it at first? And do you often change your mind about these ideas and behaviors once you get to know better and better understand the ideas, the potential of these ideas? Try to reflect on whether you prefer to work on simple ideas that may not change a lot, but very effective in implementation, or whether you sometimes also like to put up these wild ideas, the novel ideas, those that may have potential to set new standards and turn into breakthrough solutions. Do you enjoy playing with these ideas? Do you enjoy working and building and elaborating on these ideas, eventually maybe be ready to present them to relevant audiences outside your team? In order to better understand your creative potential and eventually your creative confidence, it's worth reflecting on your creative production And maybe sometimes try to log your creative production and start comparing it over time. Maybe how much creative you're able to be today and how much creative you're able to be in 1 month from now or 2 years from now, or whatever timeline you have in turning into a more creative human being. Hereby, you'll be able to analyze your own creative production, get a better understanding of what you're capable of when it comes to creativity. You could look for the number of ideas you're able to produce on any given problem, or the number of original ideas you're able to produce, or even the directions of thinking, the perspectives you're able to come up with on a certain problem, but also how good you are at elaborating on other people's ideas. Try to look for the creative skills that you find important for you and your future. You can look for these while you're in the middle of a creative session, creative meeting, workshop, or brainstorming. Or you can look afterwards, going back at the ideas you produced and look, how good were you? Maybe you can compare this with some previous sessions or future sessions and start logging to check if you're developing into a more creative human being, a more creative team. Some people may be good at producing lots of ideas, but may lack the ability to come up with these truly novel ideas. Others produce very good novel ideas, but find it difficult to change perspective. And yet, some may be really good at elaborating on other people's ideas, but not so good at coming up with ideas themselves. You can start today. Take a random problem, maybe an everyday problem, or some problems from your workplace. Try to invest half an hour, or how much time you can invest into it. And afterwards, analyzing your creative production by looking at some of these 4 or other important variables, skills, and see how creative you were able to be in that situation.